folks, so I'm pulling a little bit of an audible on this one. I was initially going to do a different gun first, and then bring this one out later, maybe not even bring it up at all, but the gun fanboy in me can't help but show you this rifle. Now, I'm sure if you've been on the internet within the past 10 years, know anything about guns, you've seen this rifle before. This is the Mosin Nagant. This one is actually, I'm pretty sure it's marked as a 9130, but it's marked 1929, so I would call that a 91. This is the Mosin M91. This was Tsarist Russia, the Soviet Union, and even still can be found today. It was the standard arm of Russian forces from 1891, I think, until the it was still used in the 1960s by the Soviet Union, and can still be found today in the Middle East and Africa and Asia, all countries that are still fighting. Now, this rifle is a 5-round internal magazine. It's chambered in the 7.62 by 54 rimmed cartridge. It's the R stands for at the end. It does not stand for Russian, like I thought it did when I first got into guns. This rifle is incredibly long. It's got some, you can see how big it is. It's got shorter carbine variations, the M38, the M44, and I believe the 1917 Dragoon was also a smaller variant, but I might be wrong about the actual model number. But it doesn't matter. Moving on. This rifle was developed, I'm going to move that out of the way because the mat in front of me has the information that I need about this rifle. This rifle came as a result, again, like the 1911, as a result of Russia being completely outclassed in a war that it got involved in the 1870s, specifically 1877 to 78 when it fought the Turks. They were using single-shot rifles, or Berdan single-shot rifles, against the Turks, who were using the Winchester repeating rifle, and Russia got demolished by them. And the Russian army decided in 1882 that can't happen again. They decided they need a rifle that is going to bring them into the modern age, and they had a special commission for the testing of magazine-fed rifles. And with that came this beauty. Now, I gotta read this again so I can tell you the exact guy's name because it's Russian and hard to pronounce. Sergei Ivanovich Mosin. He was a captain in the Imperial Russian Army. He submitted, he referred to it as the 3-line caliber, 30 caliber round, alongside a 3.5 line design by Mosin Nagant, who was, I believe, Belgian. I might be wrong about that, but he's where the other half of the name comes in. Now, what happened is the commission that went through with the trials decided that they were split. They liked both rifles that were developed, and what ended up happening said that we need both of you. We need both of you to create a rifle. This is what came out. This rifle officially was designated the model 1891. It's, again, it's a 5-shot magazine, and like the Enfield before it, like I was talking about, has a million different variations. There's the main one you're going to see is the 9130. That was, obviously, they took the 1891 design and improved it and made it a lot better. This rifle's still a great rifle, but that model improved it so that it could be used even further. That was obviously developed in 1930. There's hold on, I'll Google it to see for sure, but I believe there's at least 5 to 10 different models of the Mosin Nagant. Just off the top of my head, there is the 91, the 1907. That might actually is right. There's the Google There's the 91, the M91 Dragoon, the 1907 carbine. There's the 9130, which is what this is marked as, even though it's marked or dated as 1929, which falls before the adoption of the 9130, which is probably, but it was probably just enough that it was able to be marked as a 9130. Anyway, there's the M38 carbine, the M44 carbine, and the M59 carbine. So, I mean, this rifle was developed all the way up to 1959, although I believe the M59 was not Russian. I might be wrong about that. I'm looking it up, so if you'll excuse me for a moment. Yes, it was. It was a Bulgarian conversion that took the size of they were basically clones of the model M38, which was just a shortened version of this, but it took it changed up the sights. This rifle, I mean, it's accurate. I mean, it's a very old rifle. These older rifles are usually pretty good. I mean, I have a few Mosins because, like I said, I was an internet fanboy back in my youth, and the internet loves this gun for some reason. I mean, there are better guns. The Enfield's better. I've never shot a Springfield, but I've heard it's better. We have a Mauser. I've shot one before. They're better. But this rifle is good. If you were, I mean, what Russia's way of their military doctrine was, if we send enough people, we will win. And that's what this rifle was good for. You could take somebody who had absolutely no idea how to use this thing, say, put this notch through that, and squeeze the trigger, they're going to figure out how to do it. I mean, there was almost close to 40,000 of these, or not 40,000, 40 million, slightly bigger number, 40 million of these developed worldwide. That's why they're still finding their way into conflicts now. One of the interesting things about this rifle is, despite me saying that this rifle is good and there's better variants of it, or better rifles, one of the best versions is actually the Finnish version, which I believe is the model, and I believe it's the 31. I gotta check on that. That's information I need to look. The Finnish army actually had multiple variants of it as well, although the most common one you're going to see is the M39, which has the very nice, almost tiger striped looking stock based off the wood that comes up there. Now, the reason I bring up the Finns is because they're a case of a country getting its rifle used against it. Finland captured some of them because Russia tried to help start a revolution in Finland in, I believe, actually it was around the same time Russia did, and they tried to aid them, and they captured some of the Mosins that the Russians were out with them. And what ended up happening is the Finns said, this rifle's good, we can make it better. And I mean, that's how the development of the Finnish line of Mosins came in to play. There's actually even a Japanese Mosin. I don't know what the actual designation of it is, and I might even be misremembering that exists, but I do recall that reading that somewhere that it existed. I've never personally seen one for sale, never seen one online, but I know they exist. So, this rifle, I mean, has been used against everybody. The Germans, both times. I mean, it's been used against the Bulgarians, the Finns. I mean, they used it. It even made its way in Afghanistan when Russia invaded them. I mean, this rifle has been used all the time. It's good. It's heavy. It is glorious Soviet rifle that, I mean, this gun's just cool. I mean, I know it's got its issues. I know it's got better options out there. This rifle holds a very special place in my heart because it's the first rifle I ever bought. Most people could probably say the same thing because of the fact that it's so cheap. These rifles used to go for under $100. You used to be able to buy I believe a friend of mine told me that he bought his for like $90. That's not the case anymore. These rifles sell for about close to $300, and I've actually seen even more than that. So we got out, me and my dad, when we started buying these guns, got out while the getting was good. Because we started buying these, this one specifically, I was talking about one of the other ones that I owned, that was the first one I bought. This one specifically was one of the last ones I bought, and I paid about $200 for it. And I definitely don't regret paying that, or buying this one. I just regret paying that much. And unfortunately, with as many, like I mentioned, there was close to 40 million, but they're not going to find a huge stock of them somewhere else. I mean, the supplies are starting to dry up, so that's why these things are getting a lot more expensive. But like I said, with the invention of bigger and better rifles, this gun's going to start finding its way into non-fireable, just collection pieces that people leave in their safes. I mean, I still try to take mine out time to time to get it shot, to get some rounds through it. The 54R cartridge is good. It's heavy. It's a really accurate round if you know how to use it correctly. The only problem is these barrels heat up really quick. Like 20-30 rounds through this gun in a day, and that doesn't seem like a lot, but with a 5-round magazine, that can be kind of a pain. I mean, this rifle starts to heat up rather quickly, and you start to lose more accuracy than I'm sure that its originators would like to admit. It may just been a fluke with the rifle I was shooting, but I mean, it happens. It's happened on multiple versions. I have a couple of 9130s, and I have an M44. I have this one. They all do it. So, I mean, if you're taking it out, you got to be aware of that. Just know that you're not going to be shooting this rifle all day. And part of that reason, too, is the cheap ammo, the cheap 54R ammo that you're going to find in the giant crates, kind of like, I'm going to bring it up here, kind of like that up there, that big wooden crate, is corrosive ammo. And the reason that's a problem is kind of in the name. What happens is you shoot that, it gets all up in here, and you got to clean it out, and you got to use stuff with ammonia in it to clean it out, or else this rifle will rust, and you will lose this rifle. They do make non-corrosive versions of it. It's a little bit more expensive. I mean, it depends on how much. It's like anything. It's worth what you're willing to pay for it. If you want to feel like putting the work in to cleaning this correctly after using corrosive ammo, go do it. We do it. Me and my dad both do it. But if you want to spend the extra couple of dollars a box on non-corrosive ammo, that is your prerogative as well. And I would actually almost recommend that, because in the long run, I think it's probably worth buying the ammo that you're not going to have to worry about ruining your rifle. Because not everybody has a chance to clean your rifle as soon as you're done. You know what I mean? You're not going to be able to go right to clean it. You might have something to do afterwards, and you really can't let this sit more than a day after you shoot it. I wouldn't even let it sit that long. But I mean, you know, this is a good rifle. If you could find one for cheap, or know somebody that has one, get them, and you've never shot one before, get them to let you shoot it. I mean, you're not going to be sad that you did. I mean, this rifle has pretty much seen it all. I don't know about this one specifically, because there's no accurate way to be able to look up what the markings on it mean, be able to look up the serial number on it and say, it was here, 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 and here. Most likely this sat in a warehouse, and that's why I'm getting it. Hopefully it has some splendid history behind it, some hero during the Second World War used it, but let's face it, that's probably not what happened. I want to believe it did. I want to create a full backstory for this rifle and say that it did all sorts of cool things. I know that's probably not the truth, but maybe yours did. Maybe one you find is somebody cool's rifle that did all these awesome things, and that'll make you feel good and make it worth paying the price for it. So this is the Mosin M91 chambered in 7.62 by 54R.